If you have small children here, they have a phone, you can watch them. And then they're selling a version of their spying tool software for BlackBerries. How many small children do you know have a BlackBerry?
Well, you see, they might get hold of daddy or mummy's BlackBerry and start using it by mistake.
So here's a question for you guys. Right? So I'm not the antivirus industry. I'm actually quite in the antivirus industry. So Paul's comments yesterday are things I strongly agree with. Just so you know.
So you do agree?
Very much so, yeah. Here's my question to you guys, as employees of the antivirus industry, and maybe not just as representatives, but as employees of the antivirus industry. What is your verdict on how you detect those things? What's your verdict with this commercial software that has truly malicious possibilities, if not straight up intention?
Sometimes some of us, our employers, actually go out on a limb and ride through. You guys did it once with begins with a Z, I forgot the name. Actually ride through the cease and desist letters and win. So there is sometimes a little bit of guts are needed, in my opinion.
In the case with the Zango.
Zango, that's it.
Yes.
The other thing that we've done, unfortunately, is there's a sort of weasel word middle ground. We call them potentially unwanted applications, or PUAs. McAfee called them PUPs, potentially unwanted programs. Microsoft, bless their hearts, are the only ones with a sense of humour, call them potentially unwanted software, and you can work out for yourself what that spells. And the idea is that we kind of acknowledge that there may be somebody somewhere in the distant reaches of some, desert somewhere who actually wants to run this stuff, and we allow them to be blocked or regulated, by the user of our software's own choice. So it's unfortunate that sometimes we have to do that. The other thing that we do, particularly, or are aggressively doing, particularly with respect to executables which are wrapped up in some kind of packet that is designed to stop them being analyzed, is we recognize that there is a probable legitimate need. For example, in the games industry, where they put an awful lot of revenue into designing and building a game, and they've got about 3 months to get money before the pirateers manage to card it and they lose the revenue. So we recognize there might be a legitimate need for, say, shrouding applications. So we have worked trying to get the vendors of the programs that do this wrapping on board to say, yeah, we will attempt in an anonymous way to help you guys differentiate between what we regard as legitimate customers and what we regard as misuse of our software. So there is much more community engagement than I think a lot of people give us credit for.
Yeah. Let me give two practical examples that come to my mind out of this. First, back to these commercial mobile spying tools. We actually block all of them with our mobile antivirus solutions. And we have had disagreements and arguments with the vendors who are behind this, but we do block them because we do believe our customers who buy a mobile security tool will want these to be told that they are running in their systems. If they still want to run them, they can use our product to disable scanning of spying or file and still keep it there, but we do more of them. But another example, which is probably even better, probably is the Sony rootkit from 2005. So here's a piece of software made by Sony BMG, one of the biggest companies on the planet. And it's a rootkit, and we detected it. And actually that's a good example also in another way, because some other vendors didn't detect it. There was a confusion, what actually should we be doing about this? But we strongly believe that we should detect it and block it, because the Sony rootkit could have been and was used by real malware to hide itself. And at the time when the Sony rootkit was hiding no malware, most antivirus products at the time were unable to find the malware anymore because Sony hid it so well, and rootkit technologies were new at the time. So I do believe in hindsight we did the right thing.
Would you suggest that in the case of the Sony rootkit, taking that as an example, that assuming there's a legitimate use for a new rootkit, as Sony thought in their case, that they actually speak to the antivirus guys and communicate, say, guys are going to be doing this, is this alright? Can you just close one eye on this one? Is that the solution?
No. If they would have come us before, we would have still detected it.
Well, yeah, as I mentioned, there are some parts of the software industry that make stuff that can very easily be abused for cyber criminal stuff. There are sectors of the industry, and the mainstream executable packets are a good example of where the leading vendors in that field, the small companies with sort of clever guys, have been engaging and have said, yeah, let's reach some kind of consensus so that we can actually improve our brand by helping people to differentiate between good and evil use of our software. So yes, in some cases, but for Sony's thing is a good example. The irony for us is that the company that Sony contracted to write the rootkit, which, no, I'm not going to say this because it's being strict. I will not have mentioned that I reckon they just ripped it straight out of the Frack magazine from 2004. It was about a 20-minute drive up the road from Sophos's HQ in Oxfordshire, England, and they eventually moved to Wales. I don't know why. Maybe they got kind of some kind of legal bolt hole there. The issue is, so how do you go up against someone like Sony? And we did execute it. Many other vendors did. We just said, look, this is an absolutely crazy idea. We're going to regulate this software for our customers for the greater good of all. Sony kicked up a fuss, and, well, the rest of the world sort of backed us, and Sony lost big time in the class action suit which followed.
However, you have to remember that one of the music CDs that would get you infected was, at the time, the latest Celine Dion music CDs. And if you listen to Celine Dion, maybe you deserve to get infected.
That would be one thing about it. Thanks,
I would like to come back just to commercial spyware for mobile phones. Well, this year, maybe, Miko, I think you remember that in Romania, a lot of people were arrested because they were using FlexiSpy for some kind of business spying, or like, so this FlexiSpy must be installed manually on the smartphone you want to spy on. So that's why people who wanted to, let's say, to get some secrets from other companies, they took the smartphones, installed this FlexiSpy, and they hadn't got some secrets, but the fact is that they were arrested for using spyware tools. So that's also the reason why we detect such software.
I think that there are many good examples of where we, and I know that you guys particularly seem to despise us, and Mick and I have no idea why that's the case. I mean, you guys are obviously like, you're just like ambulance chasers. I just don't get that. Come with some damn science next time. But I will give you papers on the subject. But there are many things certainly which we, and I'm pretty sure you guys do this as well. There are things that we block which would not implicitly, explicitly be considered malicious software by anybody. But, for example, because they're files which appear to be malformed in a way which relates to a vulnerability. Good example, I forget when it was, 4 years or so ago, the Microsoft JPEG vulnerability, where there was a sort of integer underflow. So we would block files which are malformed and cannot possibly comply with the standard, even though we're absolutely certain that in every test we've done, that file is in no way malicious. So we already have this, we do believe that there are things that we block where nobody can say, oh, you're blocking that for no good reason, or you're not blocking that because it's malware. So in a way, I think one of the reasons maybe that a lot of people go, oh, the antivirus industry is dead, is there isn't really an antivirus or an anti-malware industry anymore. I think what we're trying to achieve is to paint with a very much broader brush, so that we can regulate the use and dissemination of files and objects and behaviors which are likely to reduce security on the network. So if you just cross out antivirus and replace it with intrusion prevention system, maybe that would make you feel a little bit happier about it.
It makes you feel even worse, actually. It makes you feel even worse, to be honest with you. The reason this is really important for cloud and for mobile, right, is that we now have a tremendous number of people out there who know how to write this software, who want to write this software, who know how to recognize blue oceans. So in business strategy, blue oceans are basically wide open areas where there's very little competition, etc. We've got the talent, they know where to go, and we clearly see them doing this. We have no good defenses, provably, on the desktop systems. And yet, we have nothing that's going to protect mobile. So these guys are basically recognizing a land rush where we have even more sensitive data stored on very insecure platforms. We have no defenses. That's my point.
We have no defenses on of PCs?
We have very poor defenses on PCs. The data bears this out. And we have, I think we have even worse defenses now on mobile, at that point. And so saying, well, you know, we've seen to put our applications, our approach to iPhone or Android or whatever is, I think, bogus. That's my point. It's not a defense. We need to radically rethink this.
Okay, which begs another question, and this is something that, this is supposed to be apparent to the audience. You're supposed to make us, we're not supposed to argue amongst ourselves, you're supposed to argue with us.
Let's not take questions in a minute.
One thing I genuinely don't understand, I mean, just in a kind of subjective way, is why there isn't significantly more money-making malware for platforms like Symbian, Windows CE in particular, and Mac. I just don't get it, and it's kind of good luck.
You know, I think there's a couple of different reasons there, right? One is your measurements are based upon probably your own software, or at least your industry's own software. So there's a selection bias going into the data that you're collecting. Okay.
So you're saying there is actually a lot of malware for Macs and mobile, or they're making equal money to Windows? Well,
What I'm arguing is that we don't necessarily know, right? But
yeah, that's a kind of truth, isn't it? You can say that
Right.
about anything.
But what you know, I was talking to Mick about this last night, right? So one of the sister companies now of Harvard did some studies, and they showed that infected handsets are significant. The percentage of infected handsets in the wild is significantly higher than what we would have guessed. Significantly higher.
Okay,
Order
so-
of magnitude.
Yeah, okay, but in absolute terms, that's still probably a very small percentage. And okay, so you're saying
Close to 50%.
you're saying the cyber criminals are making loads of money out of Mac malware and mobile malware because they aren't yet. I'm just surprised that they haven't seen those as growth areas. I agree with you in that. It is astonishing.
But the second point, though, is where it comes from, right? That's very simple game theory that you can apply to it to look at, you know, does it make sense to invest in this? What's the market?